Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday the 6th of September. It's just about 7:30 in the morning. I'm stopped at a rest area about an hour outside of Texarkana. Today I'm driving on to my brother Reuben. He lives in Chandler, Texas. I'll spend the night there tonight into Saturday, and then I'll continue the journey on to Arizona. Today I'd like us to continue that discussion on fear. But today's discussion of fear is that real fear that we get where we know we're in danger, and that fear that causes that human emotion of fight or flight. Most of us, if you're like me, we don't really want to fight. We just want to get out of that situation and as quickly as possible, and we run at the fastest pace we can to get out of the situation. When I was talking to Ranjit before coming on this trip, I said, we've been out in that desert. We've been out to the Sonoran Desert in the area where this route is called the Devil's Highway. And there's a book on that called The Devil's Highway. And it's a migration trail that humans have been taking for thousands of years. And more recently, it's the immigrants coming up from Central and South America, but not all of them are from Central and South America. They could be coming in from parts of Africa and other places around the world where there's conflict, civil war, and people have a fear. They have a fear for their life, and so they're trying to escape and make their way to the United States. So when we were out there in that desert, we're like going, wow, this place is absolutely beautiful. You've got ocotillos, you've got saguaros, you've got choyas. The plant life and the wildlife is just absolutely spectacular. But the other thing you notice when you're out in that desert is it's actually quite inhospitable. There's not a lot of shade. There's not a lot of water. Water is quite scarce. It's one of the places in America where it gets very little rain, except maybe during the summer or in the monsoon season. But after that, it's quite dry. You can't find water practically anywhere. So in this book, The Devil's Highway, it kind of describes that, about how bad that environment is. And people that die. People have been dying in that desert for hundreds of years, thousands of years possibly. And there's evidence of that as you go through the desert. So that kind of made us start to think, what would lead someone who knows that this environment is so inhospitable to risk their life and risk the lives of their children to try to cross it, to get to freedom, to get to escape whatever it is that they're afraid of in their home country? What would cause them to do this? Because it's not like it's an unknown thing. People know this. You know that. So when I started thinking about this trip, I was like, God, this is just unbelievable. What can we do? And this is when we started learning about the various Samaritan groups that that do the water drops. They plant the crosses, as well as the shelters that provide refuge to the immigrants, both on both sides of the border. In Mexico, as they're waiting for their interviews to come over into the United States, and then once they're in the United States, it's a shelter to help them get ready, prepared to go on to their next spot in the United States. This is called their sponsor. They have a sponsor somewhere in the United States that will help them. So it's just that fear that my life is in danger, my children's lives are in danger. So what do? I run, and I run to as far away as I can. And we in the United States, we've been the pillar of freedom for basically for our whole existence. So we should be welcoming, and that's what this Jesus movement's about. This What Would Jesus Do border mission trip is about, is to go out and live the life of Jesus, and to help those who can't help themselves or don't have the means to help themselves. So if they need water, we give them water. If they need food, we give them food. If they need clothing, we give them clothing. If the kids don't have toys, we give them toys. We give them toothbrushes. we're just there to do what Jesus would do and to live that life. So today, I ask you to think about fear, and what would you do if you felt you had no choice but to run? And wouldn't you just feel comforted to know that maybe on the somewhere along the way there'll be someone there that will be following the way of Jesus to help you? Well, that's all for today. I'll check in with you again probably on Sunday as I continue my journey on to Arizona. For now, this is Chuck, wishing you peace.